towards Zimbabwe's legend. He is one of the pioneers of the arts industry in Zimbabwe and has worked with so many talented people. And through poetry, he has traveled to the world, raising Zimbabwe's flag high. The Senzenina hit maker. I am in the company of greatness, Albert Nyathi, all the way from Gwanda. I cannot wait, to have a conversation with this cultural icon on his upbringing, the journey in poetry, and also music and so forth. So vari pana about tichikurukura nawo rwendo rwawo rwoupenyu. Siyaliyamukela kushow yethu on the spot Baba Nyathi.
Ngiyabonga hawo bengingakwazi ukuthi uyasazi isindebele ola
no ngiyadobha wena ngiyadobha
hawo dobha mlomo wenkukhu
so isithi salibonani
hawo sabona jaha
kunjani ekhaya
hayi ekhaya kukahle kuyaqanda kodwa
kuyagodola wena but mina juice mangani nazo how many jackets
I look like a moving elephant.
Moving elephant. Okay, just to remind our listeners that we are live on Facebook talking to Baba Nyathi. He's here with us. He's in studio live on Star FM. So how are you surviving this weather, Baba Nyathi?
No, this reminds me of the time I was in Denmark in 1994.
94?
I nearly died because I went in summer
and
then one day it moved straight into autumn, and autumn became so cold before even winter.
Hey.
And a guy from Senegal came up to me because we were black together. He came up to me and said, "My brother, here you die." Then he accompanied me to a shop. And I bought a jacket, those big ones. He said, "No, that's not enough. You need a t-shirt and a t-shirt and a t-shirt and a sweater and then that."
Okay. So
I do it.
So many clothes.
Yes, indeed.
But do you think you will ever surpass the Senzenina song?
I think I've done so. Yeah, I think I've done so. I know people love Senzenina, and wherever I go, that song haunts me.
Yeah, very true, very true.
Because everybody thinks I can't go beyond that. But I think in the song My Daughter, which I did with Derek Mpofu, I just nearly hit it.
Oh!
People love it so much. I mean, people love the book.
Yes.
My Daughter, and the song itself, My Daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
And Baba, I know your poetry is accompanied by music. Is it what they call sung poetry?
Yes. There are so many names to it. But, Dala, they used to say dub poetry. Others say spoken word. Others say exactly what you have said.
Yes.
Sung poetry. But whatever you name it, it is exactly that.
Yeah, very true. And you're one of the most talented, and I would like to believe, pioneers of poetry in Zimbabwe. Do you agree with me?
Yes, partly. I mean, don't forget there is my twin brother called Chirikure.
Yes.
We call each other twin brother. Sometimes when we are drunk, we say twin sister.
Twin sisters.
We're friends, so we make jokes.
Yes.
But you have a few guys who were part of the pioneering squad, as it were. But I think, I'm one of them.
Right?
Yeah, sure.
And before we dive into your career, let's go back in time and see how it all started, Baba Nyathi.
Yeah, it's a long story. When you are relatively younger and you take your dogs out hunting for umvundla, you know umvundla?
Yes,
tsuro. And when you bring tsuro or inqina or impunzi, those animals from the bush.
Yes.
And you bring that to your mother, and she showers you with your clan names, Uthi emdluli, like Enyathi emdluli, mareperepe adikhomu, bajana mabausimela. It starts from there.
Yes.
It starts from that, and those are the formative stages. You begin to enjoy that when you are being showered by either your grandmother or your mother for bringing umvundla home.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And you really enjoy that, and it begins to get into you. But also, of course, at school, later on, I started works, particularly in Ndebele works by Mayford Svanda and Dabezintesko Komtandazo Ndemangwenya. But later on, of course, William Shakespeare, Wordsworth, others, many of these writers, Dambo Zomarachera, Chenjirai Ove, Musae Murazimunya, and so on and so forth. And then I began to enjoy. I started really fusing the traditional and the modern in some way.
Yes, yes. And you did so very well. And Zakabuda Zakanak. And you were born and bred in Gwanda, Baba Nyathi, in a family of 23. You being the firstborn.
I think we are about 23.
23, yeah.
Actually, no, I'm not the firstborn. Oh, yeah, I'm my mother's firstborn.
You're okay.
I'm not my father's firstborn.
Oh, okay. So
in my mother's, like from my mother, there are 10 of us.
Okay.
All of us are there. I'm the firstborn, and all of us are there.
Oh, wow.
There are 10 of us, 6 boys.
4 girls.
4 girls.
Wow, wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And how was your?
I have my other brothers and sisters. From my father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was your upbringing?
Wonderful. I never liked school at all. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
You ask my mother, ask neighbors and relatives, they tell you, this animal. I never loved school.
Yeah.
I used to run away. But I used to look after. My father was a businessman. You know, the kind of business where you buy goats in the village.
Yes.
And you sell them in the city. It's called Amazongo. And so I looked after those goats.
Yeah.
And that's partly why I hated school, because sometimes I would be asked to look after those goats, and by the time I go to school, maybe I miss a day in a week or 2 days in a week. And then by the time I get to school, others are already way ahead.
Oh.
But also there is a river called Gafusi.
Yeah.
Gafusi that I needed to cross. I had a cousin brother called Mishek. So we needed to cross. But sometimes the river would be full and for a day or two, and we miss school. And then I hated being so behind at school, and as a result, I didn't quite enjoy school at an early age. And also remember, where I come from, I never really saw a role model coming from my village.
Yes,
proper close village. Of course, you had Dr. Albert Nyathi, you had Professor Phineas Makurane, but they were a bit far off from the surrounding. There was no role model. My role models were my brother, my cousins, my big brothers who went to South Africa, to Wicknel, Egoli, to work in gold mines. And that was my dream. I enjoyed that.
You wanted to go to South Africa?
I actually wanted to do that.
So I understand, Babu Nyathi, that your father had 2 wives, like you said. Didn't that
my
inspire?
mothers are there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Didn't that inspire you to get into polygamy as well?
Yeah, I am the UN Women Gender Champion. So, did you know that?
I'm
the UN
sure.
Women Gender Champion. So, as a result, if I do that, I suppose my role might question me.
So, actually, what you're saying is that you can't be in a polygamous marriage because you are a champion. But if you're not, you're going to maybe have, 2 or more wives.
No, you know what? That we will discuss just outside.
I will take that as an answer as well.
No.
Babu Nyathi.
Yes.
Yeah. We are live on Facebook. Star FM sounding good all the time. I'm talking to Baba Albert Nyathi. He's such a legend. He's in studio with me right now. So, in general, how do you view polygamy? Is it good or bad?
It's a difficult exercise, but I can understand why our elders did that way back in the past. I wouldn't really fault them. But I think in the life we live today, it's difficult.
Yeah, sure.
It's very difficult for children. You know, you have to take these kids to school and so on and so forth. But it's also difficult for women. It's difficult for wives.
Yeah,
I think. Yeah.
You grew up herding your father's livestock from cattle to goats, but in an interview you did with the Herald back in 2013, you mentioned that at one point you slept in a goat pen. You know, how far true is that?
Not once.
Yeah, several times.
Yeah, a few times.
Why?
You know, when you are herding goats or cattle, particularly goats. You know, the goats that my father had bought from the village to sell in the city, and then you sleep, you doze off while looking after them, and they disappear, and you don't know really what to do next.
Yes,
so you also disappear, and you can't go to your. Obviously, I was putting up in the kitchen, so I would just have to. I had to find a way of surviving.
So you better sleep in that goat pen.
Oh yes, it was nice though. I mean, I to be honest with you,
let
me tell you the truth. Putting on shoes was a luxury.
Really?
There was something called amanyatelo.
Amanyatelo, yeah.
Yeah.
In Shona we say manyatera.
Oh yes, yeah. And also, you know, that cloth you put under.
Yes.
You don't really care about that because you really, you have to have a taste of it when you're grown. Really, that kind of thing.
I understand.
Yeah. So that was the time. It was fun though. We enjoyed it, as it were. Yeah.
So growing up, you never liked school, like you said earlier. Would you? Would get a hiding for it? Sometimes. What was your reason for not wanting to go to school? Was it because you enjoyed herding cattle so much that you hated school?
No. As I indicated, most of the time I found myself behind because I had to look after goats. I found myself behind, and you would get really embarrassed if you were asked a question and others knew the answer and you did not. That kind of thing. And,
yes. Feels bad.
Eventually that made me hate school. And but later on I thought, look, this is important, and I went on with it. Very interesting. At Mpumelelo Primary School in Bulawayo, I became head boy, and then at Msiteli Secondary School in Bulawayo, I was head boy for a total of 3 years.
Wow.
Junior head boy, Form 2, Form 3, Form 4.
Yes.
And then in Matopo High School, I was head boy.
Wow.
And then at the University of Zimbabwe, I became a sub-warden. I didn't want to get into SRC.
but they saw a leader in you, you know? They saw a leader in you. But I want to ask you something. What made you think that people who worked in Egoli were the most successful ones?
Yeah, because that was my world. My whole world bordered around. I had never been out of my village. As a relatively younger person, I had grown up.
Yeah.
To know that these are my role models. I'd never seen, and even the teachers who taught us came from outside our area.
Yeah,
they came from far off, Lupane, Cholocho. I never saw anybody from Ekaya, Egafusi, who had been to school and had been a success.
Yeah.
Those who were successful for me at the time were Oputibami from Egoli. And they would go down, bring a radio called Galaxy after a year, Galaxy.
Yes.
And then they would bring a bicycle,
from
Egoli, and buy a table with 4 chairs or 6 chairs, and buy a few goats and maybe a cow or maybe 2 donkeys. Donkeys are very useful in terms of labor.
Very true.
So the next thing is marriage. That was the life. It put us around that.
So were you at some point, tempted to run away from herding livestock to Egoli?
Yeah. Everyone in the area, actually, eventually. I think that was our dream.
Yeah.
But you know what? Eventually you realize that school is important.
Great.
And you run with it.
But makazobudirira kuenda ku Egoli some point?
No.
Never. You wrote your grade 7 at the age of 19 years.
Yes.
Muchinyora grade 7.
Yeah.
When I came across this, I was shocked. Did you at one point dropped out of school, or what happened?
Remember, in 1980, you had people who were grown up and were studying, because at some point schools had to close because of the war.
The war, yes.
Yeah. So that's, it's many years of staying out of school, and then suddenly 1980 comes, 81, and so on and so forth, and people begin to troop towards school, and that's it. You have seen the light, and that's it.
And fast forward, you advanced your education, Albert Nyathi, and studied arts at the University of Zimbabwe. Now that you are older, how do you view education, and why did you even choose to pursue?
My friend, let me tell you a secret you don't know, and many don't know, and I'm revealing it today.
Yeah,
I'm a student
right now
at the MSU. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm studying music, and my thesis, the title of my thesis is Intersections of Fame and Fortune.
Wow.
The socio-economic reality of the Zimbabwe music industry. Intersections of fame and fortune.
Yeah.
The socio-economic reality of the Zimbabwe music industry. And I am saying, I'm studying why some popular musicians are poor.
You're studying why
some popular musicians are poor or have died poor.
Why? So far, Paniswa Madzidza. Why?
Well, I'll be submitting my thesis in the next 2 weeks for examination and so on and so forth. Yeah, there's lots. I've been talking to musicians, quite a number of them.
Yeah.
Mono Mkundu, Jays Maravini, quite a number, Sandra and so on and so forth. In my my research or investigation, if you want to call it that way, I discovered that it's a plethora of challenges in the music industry.
Yeah.
Well, of course, you have some who made money, and maybe management of it would have been difficult. But sometimes you have some who, public perception is that because you are on television, you must be making money.
Very
right?
true. Very true.
Now, sometimes I'm on, because I would have borrowed a limousine from a Lamborghini, let's say, from my uncle or a friend.
Yeah.
Even borrowed clothes from a friend, or and asked to use my uncle's mansion in Benside or in Borrowdale.
Yeah.
And I do my video. You have seen those videos.
Yes, very true.
And with girls around and so on and so forth. And it's kind of American style, and everybody thinks, oh wow. And then the next thing they see me trying to get into Zupco public transport, and legs in the air, we're trying to push. And they're like, no, it can't be him.
Exactly.
That one is rich.
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So it's a number of things. It's very painful. I've seen that in my some of the findings are that most of us do not have medical aid or health insurance or life assurance.
The artists.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we get sick, sometimes this is why then you find that we have to call for public assistance. You have seen those things.
Yeah, very true, very true.
We do not have a softer carpet on which to fall during hard times.
Yeah.
Music is like milk. That's how Derek Mpofu puts it.
Yeah.
Today you are fresh, tomorrow you are sour, and so on and so forth. In other words, it's never the same. The sun does not shine every day. If you think of musicians from the past up to now, things keep on changing. There are new genres that keep popping up and so on and so forth.
Yes.
And new names, new stars that keep on coming. So you look back and say, why are we not like those that we have seen in other countries, like, for instance, Europe and America and so on and so forth. So, but it's a lot. I've been studying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's something interesting, Baba Nyathi, that I came across. It only in the year 1975 when you discovered that there is the Shona tribe. How so?
Yeah, where I grew up, we were listening to there were the radio stations. Ekwanda, Ekayale, with South Africa and Botswana.
Yeah.
And we spoke Ndebele and Sotho. And around 1975. So there was an old woman who came. There were these guys who they were soldiers, actually. Came around the area, and there's an old woman who then said, Nakama Zezuru. I mean, for the first time, then I heard the language.
Yes.
And okay. That's, So I grew up pretty much listening to radio in South Africa and Botswana.
Nice. And, back in the day, should we say people lacked exposure to that extent?
Yeah. And even in 1980, there are some corners where you wouldn't get Zimbabwean radio stations. But I'm sure now it's, covering. So what it means is that information is important.
Yeah.
Through broadcasters in particular.
Very true. And also now social media and, other television stations.
Now, but I think now it's a bit too much.
It's a bit too much.
You may find that do you have kids, Ola?
Yeah, sure.
You may find that they know things better than you.
Very true.
When my phone, when I have problems with my phone, some things, some programs, I just give to them, and in no time they're done with it. Done.
Yeah, very true. Technology-wise, they are very exposed to that.
Yeah.
And it was in uni when you featured in a play called Mandela, the Spirit of No Surrender. What was the play about, and how was it received?
Yeah. This play was directed by Dr. Robert McLaren, who was my lecturer then, because part of my studies included drama or theater.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, we lost last week. We lost Professor Misere Mugo, who was playing the role of Winnie Mandela.
Oh, so sad.
May his soul rest in peace. I was playing the lead role of Nelson Mandela, and it was done by Zambugo Izibugo. So you had guys like Titus Moetsabi and others, Nicholas Mkaronda, who were involved in the production. And it was officially launched at Girls High School by Ubaba Mzenda, who was vice president then, the late. And I remember standing next to him, and my hair was gray because I had to put baby powder. We did the play, and when we launched it, Mandela had just come out of prison, so we had to change the ending. So I had been made to study Mandela as a young person in 1963 during the Rivonia trial.
Yes.
So we performed 10 times at Girls High School, and then many times at the UZ. Then we went to Mtare, full house. I mean, like sold out. We went to Masvingo, sold out. We went to Kweru, sold out. Hulawa, sold out. And let me do, can I do one of the parts that I can remember?
Yes, sure.
This is Nelson Mandela after he had been...
released?
No. He had been charged and sentenced to life imprisonment. And the judge had just said, Mercy Mandela, what have you to say before we send you off to jail? And this is what he said. I have fought against white domination, and I have fought against black domination. I have cherished the ideal of a democratic and free society in which all persons live together in harmony and with equal opportunity. It is an ideal that I hope to live for and to achieve, but if need be, it is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Wow.
I remember that very well.
Wow, mdala. Madon ndaito imagine mdala Mandela wacho pajao. You know,
I actually met him later on.
Oh.
Yeah.
And how did he...
warm old man.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you feel? Maybe, did you know, or even I go on and read that the movie?
No, it was a musical.
Yeah.
Live on stage, but unfortunately we didn't record it.
Oh.
I met him 96.
96, yeah.
When he came to Zimbabwe to officially open or launch his the Nelson Mandela Avenue.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that one. Yeah. I understand you are a poet, musician, actor, writer.
Yes.
But at what point did you decide you want to take this, seriously?
Yeah. Well, remember, I once upon a time worked when I finished university in 1990-91. I then joined the National Arts Council. Worked as publications and information officer. And then in 1997, I became the acting director of the Arts Council and acted for about 2 years. And then 97, I quit my job in favor of travel.
Okay.
So since I quit my job, I've been traveling quite a lot, would spend about, with the band Imbong, would spend about 3 months based in the United Kingdom.
Wow.
But then traveling to different countries. Like you rent an apartment or two apartments.
In the UK.
Yeah. You rent for 3 months and then you travel to various parts of the United Kingdom, Ireland, Northern Ireland, Scotland, Wales, and then Belgium, and so on and so forth. So we would do that. We spend 3 months away and we come back, and so on and so forth. It was very good. It's been very good.
Yeah. And let's talk about the project of Sensenina that was done years ago with the likes of Bob J's Marabini and Muzi Mange.
1994. But the writing of the song, I can't remember. I wrote it when Chris Hani was shot dead. Chris Hani was one of the leaders of the African National Congress.
Okay.
And he's believed to be probably the second most popular leader in the African National Congress at the time. Remember, Zimbabwe was free and we were helping South Africa, helping to free South Africa, I think, as SADC. So Chris Hani had spent so many years in exile, and then there was ceasefire, and he went to South Africa in preparation of the votes, and talks, of course. And then while he was jogging, he was shot dead, and 4 bullets hit him. I'm lucky to have met the wife called Limpo Hani. I met her in the Netherlands.
Yes.
And actually, the organizers who had invited me, they asked if I could perform for her at some point, which I did. But anyway, when Chris Hani was shot dead, I imagined the many fighters, many people who had died fighting for their own freedom, and that's how I started writing. I wrote that poem and that song that same day, but of course you keep on changing. I remember that in Shona we say I knew what I was doing. So this guy, I said that Zeiko in Shona. This guy said, no, you said Takata Zeiko. Then I said, my friend, my Shona may be poor, but I mean that not Taka. So we kept on working on it, and eventually it became what it became. And Prudence Katomeni Mbofana, actually is the one who did the singing of the song. There's so much. And then the lady, the little one who was crying, the crying girl, Naomi Makwenda, whose mother is Joyce Makwenda, the writer and film producer. was a little girl. She was grade 6 at Alfred Bate. So by the time we were now recording the video, Prudence was busy writing exams, and I was about 2 days before leaving the country for Denmark. 94, I spent about, I spent 6 months in Denmark. So I had to romp in Naomi to save Prudence because she was busy writing exams.
Yes.
But it has that song has stars. Some stars did not necessarily sing; they appeared on the video, like Jez Maravini.
Yes.
Muzi Mangena, of Tombo Farah, did the singing. You had Mateo. You had there are many.
Pangapangorine masters, my legends, my legends only.
Started,
So would you agree with me when I say this song changed your life for the better?
It did, and I'll tell you why. When the song became popular, I was away in Denmark, and when I came back, of course, the office, each time I phoned the office at the National Arts Council, because I was still with the Arts Council, each time I phoned, they used to write me letters, through the post.
Yeah.
They told me, look, you don't know how popular you are in Zimbabwe now.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe it, because when I left, I was only popular at college among, students.
And so
it surprised me that when I came back and I was at the airport, people were looking at me. And I wondered what I'd done.
Yeah.
Until somebody then came up to me and told me, you did that song. Then I realized why they were looking at me.
Yeah. And I believe through the song Senzenina, you got the opportunity to travel to Denmark, where you did an internship for 6 months, soon after the release of the song. How was the experience?
Living in Denmark was amazing. I wrote poetry about the life, the way of life in Denmark. How the Danish people... because the program was that I write about them, how they behave, how they, because we are different. It was the first European country that I ever visited, and I enjoyed my stay there, and I wrote some poems about how they behaved, and I was opposed to the idea of the old people's homes, and I said, you people in Denmark, you're putting people in a crawl.
Yeah.
In Zimbabwe, we stay with our grandmothers and grandfathers until they leave us. You people just throw them away,
Yeah. And you mentioned that in 1996, that's when you met former South African president, the late Mandela.
Yeah.
How did it feel, performing for someone that was and still is respected like that?
It was amazing. I really felt honored to do that. But that later on I then got invited to the SADC 30th anniversary in Windhoek, and I performed for heads of state from the the entire SADC.
Wow.
There was, I remember Rupia Banda, I remember Peter Mtarigi, I remember Mswati, Zuma, a whole of SADC. I remember, what was his name, from DRC,
Kabila, yes.
Yeah, and they really enjoyed the performance. Yeah, I've done that. But also, in 2005, I was invited by Chelsea Football Club.
Chelsea?
Yes.
In England?
Yes.
Wow.
To work with children in 2 towns within London City, in Paddington and Westminster, junior libraries, creating poetry against racism in football. So, I worked with kids, primary school kids, creating that poetry. And I remember the poem that resulted in that was called Fans and Fools. So the fans are those who cheer at the color of the jersey. Fools are those who jeer at the color of the skin. That kind of thing.
That's interesting.
So I went to, what's that? I went to the FA headquarters in Soho Square.
Yeah.
to do a performance. After that, I went to Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea was playing Bolton. So I was with Didier Drogba. I was with Frank Lampard.
Rubbing shoulders with the legends.
Frank Lampard, John Terry.
Yeah.
And then I was with Okocha, because Okocha was playing for Bolton. So,
JJ Okocha.
Yeah. So before their match, I appeared with the children I was working with on stage, performing and carrying a banner saying, "Stop racism out of football."
Nice.
And this was supported by a magazine called, what was it? Was it Stop It or something? And then Chelsea Football Club and Paddington and Westminster libraries. Yeah.
What an amazing, experience.
Yeah.
It is the same year that you formed a group called Imbong. Is it still functional?
Imbong was formed much earlier. Imbong is functional, but we rarely perform in clubs. We used to perform in clubs quite a lot. But now we do mainly private functions. But also remember, I have had a program called ANTS, which is called ANTS, stands for Albert Nyathi Talent Search.
ANTS. Oh, yes.
Right. But it started in 1998 as Imbongi Talent Search. And this is where you find IASA coming from. Which, it was then called Popoma High School Drama Club. And then you have Sandra, people like Sandra and you have quite a lot. You have Charles Chipanga, the guy who...
They were on that in that group?
No. I used to have... it was a talent search program where, in fact, during school holidays, I used to, like the April one and the August one, kids came up to the National Sports Stadium from across the country, including, Manex, the guy who does reggae.
Yes, Manex,
Laziti and others. There's one called Ishe and so on and so forth. Iasa or Sandra and so on and so forth used to come down during school holidays and would train them. And then in Bulawayo and Popoma, we had, at Popoma High School, we had a program which was competitive. Kids would compete. That's the one which then became ANTS, where school children would compete in various artistic expressions or forms. They would first you have poetry, performed poetry. Then you have singing, in most cases solo or duet, and sometimes choir. Then you had dance and so on and so forth. Yeah.
And we've got about 12 minutes to go. So I'll try by all means to give you all the questions. So you've given us the best of the best poems ever. And we appreciate you for that. From your collection, do you have a favorite one? And which one is that?
My daughter.
My daughter. Why my daughter? What inspires you to...
Daughter.
You have one daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, and how many sons?
Two.
Two sons.
Yeah.
Nice, lovely. And what inspires you to come up with such creativity?
Well, what normally inspires an artist, like me, would be things that surround you, things that you come across, things that you experience, around you. Those are things that anything that you experience tends to inspire you.
Oh.
But you know what, Ola? You know I'm the chairman of Zimbabwe Music Rights Association.
Yes.
So I was hoping I would throw in a word or two, at least popularly known as Zimura, Zimbabwe Music Rights Association.
Yeah.
I do know, Ola, that there have been issues, especially lately, talking about the challenges that we are facing at the moment. It's really I'm very disappointed and very heartbroken to imagine that you have people who make accusations that are unfounded, and this is where my heart is right now.
Yeah.
I'm like really seriously, absolutely, utterly, totally disappointed.
Why? It is widely reported that some board members from Zimura, accused you for misusing some funds. How far true is this?
Yeah, it's a lie. It's a total lie. Actually, it's people who want to take over, and they can take over if they want. It's very unfortunate that as I speak to you right now, I managed with the board to acquire a piece of land, which is 5,000 square meters in Bulawayo, in order to have a music center that caters for all in the arts business, where you have a boarding facility so that artists coming from other parts of the country, like Harare, going to Bulawayo, have somewhere to stay overnight as they do their works. They have somewhere to rehearse. There's a garden, there's a rehearsal space and so on and so forth. The same thing right now, I'm talking to the Harare City Council, but we started with Harare for a long time and we are not getting any good answers from different mayors that we have had. But currently, we're talking to the City Council and they are really forthcoming. And, we're looking into the future more than just us today. We're looking forward. And how do you, if you are a board, how do you, because as a board, you get elected by the, what do you call it, the AGM, annual general meeting, which is membership. They elect you and say, guys, we want you to lead us and find a way of improving us or improving the whole setup.
Yeah.
And then when you are elected, you then find somebody with a legal background who will then help you. So you have a board of 8, right? And then the board then says, okay, guys, we need to have someone, chairing us and leading the way. So and that's the structure, and so on and so forth. And then you employ the head of the secretariat. You employ the head of the secretariat. Sometimes this one would be called CEO. In some cases, they say executive director. It's a matter of semantics.
Yeah.
But you get that person to then lead in terms of administration.
Yes.
Right? And how do you, even as a board member or even as a chairperson, how do you go to the CEO and say, give me money?
You can't even do that.
She will ask you,
so why are they accusing? So why are they accusing you now? If you had no access to the funds?
Yeah, no, it's all living in it's a dream. They are manufacturing that because they want to lead. That's the thing, and I did not choose myself to be the chair,
to be the chair
or to go on the board because people voted.
Yeah.
So we will see. I think that it's unfortunate because it's destroying the good work that has been done, and it's not destroying me per se. It's destroying the brand Zimura. And I don't know what our children will do because we think we are doing all this for them, and it's very unfortunate.
Yeah, it's quite sad, and what I heard from you, fabrications and whatnot.
Absolutely fabricated, virtually everything.
But in English, there's a saying called, there's no smoke without fire. Probably there's something, or maybe there are some disgruntled, people within the same system.
Some of those guys lost in elections, in previous elections, and that's what they're fighting. And it's unfortunate. You know that if you play a game with a pig, if you say, "Oh, okay, pig, ngulube, let's roll in the mud."
Yeah,
the one who will be happiest is the pig at the end of the day. And I have a theory that if you mix milk, and cream, milk and cream, you shake. And then you let it lie low for some time, cream will always come up.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. We will see. We would say nanka amehlo amaziso aya ngithi. Here we have the eyes to see. We will see. Because look, we have laws in this country. We are saying let the laws take their course.
All right, so we will talk about that one as well. We've got about 4 minutes to go, but in those 4 minutes, I've got 3 questions, and I want you to do a poem for us. Because a lot of people have been asking to Ola Tuda a poem from Baba Nyathi. So I'm going to give you that opportunity. So
Which one?
My daughter, I think that's the most famous one.
Okay.
But do you think poet is even taken serious in our country? Has it been given enough credit over the years?
Well, I think we have tried our best to ensure that it's recognized, and it's indeed recognized.
Yeah,
that's why Nama gives out something called spoken word, which is poetry and comedy. Like stand-up comedy. I think it's getting recognized.
And comparing when you started in the arts industry before the advent of technology, how was it like?
It was difficult. I think recording, you had to rehearse thoroughly. But it made us work a lot harder.
Which days do you love most? Is before digitalization or now?
I think for some funny reason before digitalization. For some, I don't know why, but I still feel people. If you listen today, if you listen to the recording by Love Mama Jaivana,
yes,
you listen to Wells Fargo. I'm talking of those that you don't even know.
No, yeah,
you listen to Utuku and so on, Thomas Mafumo. And then you qatanisa with what we have today. You still feel that time people used to work a lot harder. They created more time to rehearse and so on and so forth. And I think,
So has technology assisted you in any way?
Yeah, it does assist because I don't need to work harder in rehearsing. When I'm recording, I make a mistake. I usually record with mono.
Yeah.
When I make a mistake, he cuts and then we start and it's easy. Yeah.
Okay, Baba Nyathi.
I
want to thank you so much for this time. I had so many questions, but because of the time, but I want you to give us the poem. And I want to tell those who are watching right now, this is the time. Radio. This is time to log on to the Facebook page right now and see Baba Nyathi doing his thing. Yeah.
They should go and buy the book. Anyway. Okay, let me do just a snippet. There's my daughter and then there's my son. So I'm going to do a snippet of my daughter. I'm not sure I will have time for my son.
Yeah, maybe you can do both.
My daughter, when I demand that you be home before dark every day, I, my daughter, do not hate you, dear. I am merely trying to protect you from the jaws of the drooling hyenas that love to feast in the dark, from the panting leopards stalking you like ghosts, almost ready to leap at you, from the hungry lions silently eyeing you, smacking their lips, ready to pounce, from the jumpy monkeys leaping from tree to tree and from branch to branch with no particular base. My dear daughter, tell me, what color is the chameleon? So, when I say be home before dark every day, I'm merely being dutiful as a father, man. I am doing what mothers should do. It is my duty to protect you from the black mambas that hate to miss a target. They all want to win your heart, dear. But remember, the python preys on its victim by changing colors. Oh, those rainbow colors. And the beautiful daughter, take heed. Darkness has no eyes. Yeah?
Yeah.
And my son.
Yeah, my son.
Well, I wrote that with Ignatius Mabasa, my friend. And just a snippet.
Yes.
My son. Yeah. Can I do it?
Yeah, take it away. Yeah, sure.
My son, I am proud of you. Today you have become a warrior eager to explore the jungle with your sharp spear that never misses. But as you hunt, as you look around, never hunt baby animals. That is no manhood, my son. My son, as you walk and stalk and talk, never hunt animals you don't know, but even those that you know may be unpredictable, my son. Wow.
That's Albert Nyathi for you. Ladies and gentlemen, Albert Nyathi, all the way from Kwanta. Wow, I'm inspired. I'm inspired. One day I'll become a poet. So how can people get in touch with you, Albert Nyathi?
I have a Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just check Albert Nyathi.
Albert Nyathi.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for coming. You are our legend. So tati tukupe maruba murumpenyu, you know.
Thank you very much. And by the way, I am the male motivator for the Zimbabwe National Family Planning Council. And please, let's look after our mothers and our women and our girls.
Very true.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. That was Baba Albert Nyathi. My name is DJ Ola 7 Owen. The program is called On the Spot, where we bring you all the public figures on this program. You can catch this interview on my Facebook page at DJ Ola 7, also on Star FM Facebook page, my YouTube channel as well at DJ Ola 7. It is time for the news with Belinda Gomo.